For my 42nd birthday, I set myself a goal of walking 12,000 steps every day for the month of January. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why I did it, how I did it, and what happened as a result. So check it out. Hi, I'm Leslie, and I'm a life coach based here in Brisbane, Australia. And I've been doing a lot of walking recently. 12,000 steps every single day for the month of January 2023. I didn't miss a single day, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. So why did I do it? A couple of reasons. One was that I wanted to improve my overall fitness, just kind of get a little fitness boost. I also wanted to just experience that thrill of reaching a goal that I'd set for myself, this time a physical one. And I also wanted to see what I could learn from the experience and see if I could repurpose any of those strategies to develop other areas in my life, which I'm constantly developing. Thankfully, Brisbane is a very walkable city. There's also a lot to see in Brisbane when you're traveling on foot. Some nice views. There's really interesting street art as well. Like, street art is actually quite a thing here. We've got the river, the various plants and animals, nice things. I mean, it's Australia. So, how did I do it? One thing that I did was I started walking to work more often. Normally, I would either take the bus or ride my bike. And when I'm on the bike, it takes about maybe 20-25 minutes to ride from my house to my office. But when I walk, it's probably about 50 minutes roughly. I think it was like just under 5,000 steps every time I would walk to the office. And then sometimes I'd walk home as well. So that really added up very quickly. But that was also not always easy, because even though Brisbane is a very walkable city, it's also very hot and humid. So I tried to come in earlier on my walking days so that I wouldn't get to work all sweaty and half melted. I did still take the bus some days, but I would usually get out a stop or two earlier or later than the one that I would normally get out at. And then I'd walk the rest of the way. I also made sure when I got to work that I wouldn't sit too long. And I'm usually pottering around, greeting clients, bringing people back and forth. But there are some days where I'm doing a lot of admin work. So my Fitbit does a pretty good job of reminding me to get up and move around. But I made it a point myself to get up at least every hour and just do a couple of laps between my office and the front desk, or I'd go up and down the stairs, just surveying the area. Sometimes I would just pace or just march. I do spend a bit of time at the gym. So one of the good things about that was that I could finish off a workout by walking on the treadmill for a while, just watch something on my phone, plug in my AirPods, and sort of shut everything else out. And I'd collect a couple of thousand steps that way. There were some things I did at the gym that did involve a lot of stepping, but didn't actually register on my Fitbit because, I have to have my arms straight or something like that. Like when I was pushing large amounts of weight on the sled system, I'd have my arms completely locked out. Now, this was the only time that I actually calculated steps that I could then add onto my full total for the end of the day. There were some days that I got over 15,000 steps because I was just particularly active that day, or, as some of you know, I take a lot of photos at rallies and marches. So I was photographing the Invasion Day rally here in Brisbane, and of course that involved a lot of walking. So I got over 16,000 steps that day without having to think about it at all. And making it automatic was really one of the keys to making sure that it wasn't going to become some sort of a chore, like this thing that I had to track because I told myself I would. I would just build things into my routine that involved a lot of walking. That said, there were definitely times where I would get to the end of an evening and I still had a few thousand steps that I needed to get before I could go to bed. So on days like that, sometimes I would go for a walk around the neighborhood, or if I were at home that evening alone with my daughter, I would just start pacing in my kitchen, or like sidestepping, sometimes even marching in place. There were a couple of nights where my daughter and I just finished off those couple of thousand steps with a little mini dance party, and that was super fun. I did whatever I had to do to get those 12,000 steps. Here's how I tracked my progress. I wear a Fitbit, and of course it tracks my steps automatically. It also tracks calorie burn and some other things. And then it automatically syncs to the app on my phone. But to make achieving this goal more satisfying, I made a spreadsheet that I would input data manually. I know the numbers my watch gives me aren't exact, but that wasn't really what mattered. And that's also one of the reasons I went with 12,000 steps as a goal instead of 10,000. It was for good measure, because I knew that if I aimed for 12,000, at least 10,000 of them would be valid, to put it plainly. But I always tried to shoot for more than 12,000 when I could. And the calorie burn especially, it's not exact, but I use these numbers for comparison. So just seeing how I did each day compared to the previous day. So on this sheet, I made columns for the day and the dates, the calorie burn according to the watch, the number of steps according to the watch, my weight every morning, any other forms of exercise that I may have done, if I did a workout at the gym or something like that, just for my own information. And very importantly, the day of my menstrual cycle, because that really helped me predict when my lower energy days were going to be and then plan for that. I also color-coded my spreadsheet. So each 7-day period was a different color of the rainbow, because why not? And anytime I walked 15,000 steps or more, I would highlight that box in green or in pink during my green week. Having all of that data on one page that I could see at a glance worked so much better for me than just having it all stored in an app. I'm a very visual person. I like to see what I'm visualizing in my head as evidence of what I've been up to. And when I missed a couple days of inputting data, I could just get the information from the app because it was all stored in there, thankfully. It was a great reminder of how easy it would have been to veer off track if I hadn't set this very specific goal and put together this system to track my progress. But I didn't veer off track. I stayed consistent, and that's what counts. The first change I noticed was probably around week 2. When I go to the gym, I often start with a warm-up on the elliptical for about 15 minutes, maybe 20. And normally the first 5 minutes are the most challenging, and then it's smooth sailing after that. But this time, those first 5 minutes were kind of a breeze. And I also found that I could spend more time on the rowing machine without feeling too out of breath. And it was good to have that evidence that my cardiovascular fitness was improving. Another thing that happened was that I was a lot more mindful about what I was eating. I didn't go on a diet because I don't do diets, but because I was tracking anything relating to my health, it became more of an instinctive response to choose the healthier eating options every day rather than just on most days. You know what I mean? I have a generally healthy diet, but there are times that I can maybe relax a little too much or get a little loose because I love food. Or, sometimes there's a special occasion, like when we had leftover cake from my daughter's 6th birthday, and somehow that mass of leftover cake just kind of kept finding itself on our plates at home. It's like, it was delicious, it's cake. Now, I'm not here to diet shame anyone or fat shame anyone. All bodies are valid, and the condition of a person's body is not an illustration of their moral character. That said, I have a family history of certain health conditions that benefit from avoiding foods that are high in sugar, for example. And there are things that I want to be able to do with my body that benefit from having less mass. So over that 31-day period, and I know this is the part that some of you are most interested in, I lost 4 kilos, which is almost 9 pounds. And it's not likely that that was just because I was doing these 12,000 steps every day, but the other little adjustments that came about as a result of committing to this particular challenge is really, I feel, what contributed to that. So, what did I learn? When I first started this 12,000 steps challenge, I got a little bit overexcited at first, like, I'm gonna do 12,000 steps every day for the entire year, yeah! And then I was like, whoa, slow down a minute. I might do 12,000 steps every single day this year. If I do, that'll be awesome. And it's like how I work with my clients. It was really important for me to break down this random, undercooked goal into smaller chunks. And doing this helped me learn a lot and also decide how to move forward. I've decided that I'm going to continue using this spreadsheet system to start tracking other things, like my supplement intake. I've been trying a few things to manage my PMDD symptoms, and this may help me get a clearer picture of how my nutrition impacts my moods, because I'll start tracking my moods as well, and my food intake, and just see how that all plays out over an extended period of time. As I'm recording this, it is the 3rd of February. I've stuck to the 12,000 steps so far in February as well. So I'm going to make another video at the end of this month to talk about how February went. One thing that I thought I might do a little bit differently in terms of just tracking steps is make a goal of a certain number of steps for the week rather than for every day. So 12,000 steps a day for a week is what, 84,000 steps? I could shoot for 90,000 in a week, maybe even 100,000. So that if there's some days where I have a special event I need to attend, or where I'm ill, or I've got something else that requires me to be more sedentary, then I can just make up for it another day and not feel like I've gone completely off track. And it'll still be satisfying. And it's worth mentioning at this point one of my favorite quotes from a woman named Ida B. Wells, and that is, "The appetite grows for what it feeds on." And I really feel like my appetite for walking and just keeping my body moving has really increased. And by implementing some of the common principles of habit formation and habit maintenance that I work with my clients on all the time, turning these things onto myself more and more can only be a good thing. So why not? So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any updates. And check out my other personal development content as well. My book reviews, discussions on various topics, polyamory as well. And let me know if there are any other challenges you think I should try, and stay in touch. All right, see you in the next video.